Here's the thing, folks. Mark Cuban doesn't just talk big. He lives big. Sure, you've seen him tossing deals around on Shark Tank or screaming courtside at Mavericks games. But behind the cameras, there's a lifestyle most billionaires don't copy because they can't. Private jets, underground tech deals, a family life that flips the script on generational wealth. It's loud, low-key, excessive, and humble, all at once. And once you see how he really lives, you'll get why even other billionaires don't know whether to roll their eyes or take notes. Let's take a look inside. Now, Mark's relationship with real estate is almost reluctant. Despite a net worth of over $6 billion, he said he'd rather sleep on the floor than flex with mansions. But his real estate portfolio didn't get the memo. His main home, a 24,000 square foot Dallas estate in Preston Hollow, bought for $17.6 million after the Broadcast.com sale. 10 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, wine cellar, guest wings, tennis court. And of course, an indoor basketball court. Because why not? Then there's his $19 million Laguna Beach villa, part of the Montage Residences. It's got 6 bedrooms, disappearing glass walls, beach access, and Pacific views you don't forget. Next, his private Texas ranch, tucked outside Dallas. Few details are public, but insiders peg it in the multi-million range, complete with a helipad. It's part retreat, part investment. Now the strange one. In 2021, Cuban bought Mustang, Texas, an entire ghost town, for around $2 million. No buildings, no people, no plans, just a favor for a friend. And finally, this raised eyebrows. He owns a 3,700 SQF condo on the 45th floor of Trump Tower, NYC, bought in 2000 for $13.5 million. Central Park views, 6 bathrooms, and Jean-Georges room service, in a building owned by someone he's openly criticized. So sure, Cuban says he doesn't care about houses, but his real estate portfolio disagrees. Let's talk wheels and wings, because Mark doesn't just move like a billionaire, he flies like one too. You'd expect someone like him to roll around in Lambos and Bugattis, right? Cuban's car collection is unexpected. It starts with a 1977 Fiat X19, a vintage 2-seater worth maybe $15,000. That's not a flex, it's a personality. Then there's a Tesla Model X Plaid, worth around $120,000, because Cuban's all about speed and sustainability. And just when you think you've figured him out, he pulls up in a Kia EV6, a $50K crossover your neighbor might drive. This isn't Cuban going humble, it's Cuban going efficient. Before you think he's just being humble, check the sky. Cuban doesn't do airport lines. He owns a Gulfstream G550, a $40 million private jet that once set a Guinness World Record for the biggest ever online purchase. He bought it straight off the internet after the Yahoo deal closed. Why? In his words, "The asset I value most is time." Then there's the real flex. A Boeing 757-200 purchased for $36 million and custom fitted for his Dallas Mavericks team. We're talking weight rooms, leather recliners, and enough space to hold a full-on strategy session at 35,000 feet. Cuban may roll quiet on the road, but in the air, he's untouchable. And if you thought Mark made his billions from Shark Tank, think again. That's just his side hustle. His real money comes from bold bets, brutal timing, and flipping the table while everyone else is still reading the rules. Let's start with his most iconic move, buying the Dallas Mavericks. Cuban scooped up the struggling NBA team in 2000 for $285 million from Ross Perot Jr. Within a decade, he turned them into one of the league's premier franchises. New coaching, player-friendly upgrades, and massive investments in infrastructure, from state-of-the-art training facilities to high-tech medical rooms. He didn't just throw money at the team, he reprogrammed it. By 2011, the Mavericks won the NBA championship. And in 2023, Cuban pulled the ultimate flex. He sold the majority stake at a reported $3.5 to $4.5 billion valuation, and still kept control. But his empire stretches way past basketball. In 2022, he co-founded Cost Plus Drugs, a pharmacy that sells generic meds at near-cost prices. Why? Because he said the drug industry was corrupt, so he built something better. And let's not forget, Cuban was streaming before streaming was cool. In 1999, he sold Broadcast.com to Yahoo for $5.7 billion, in the middle of the dot-com gold rush. That deal alone made him a billionaire overnight. And just like that, Cuban went from coding in Dallas to owning the room, the team, and the future. You'd think a guy with billions, private jets, and a championship ring wouldn't care much about giving back. But Mark's philanthropy hits harder than most people realize. One of his most talked about contributions? A $10 million donation to his alma mater, Indiana University, where he launched the Mark Cuban Center for Sports Media and Technology. It's not just some vanity building with his name on it. It's a full-blown innovation lab. Students there train on VR gear, motion capture, 3D replays, tools you'd expect at ESPN, not a college campus. He's not funding education. He's upgrading it, and that's just the tip. He's written checks for medical research, disaster relief, veterans care, and student scholarships, all done quietly. When Hurricane Harvey hit Texas, Cuban stepped up immediately. He even funded studies into U.S. drug pricing before launching Cost Plus. The point is, Cuban doesn't just give back. He builds things that last, whether it's a startup, a sports franchise, or a scholarship fund. If it creates leverage and levels the playing field, he's in. Mark doesn't start his day with boardroom meetings or meditation apps. He starts with email, thousands of them. No joke. He once said he reads between 700 to 1,000 emails every single day. And he doesn't have an assistant managing that chaos. Just Cuban, grinding through his inbox on 3 phones, 2 Androids and 1 iPhone. Like it's a video game he refuses to lose. This isn't some productivity gimmick. It's how he runs his empire. He's flat out said he hates meetings and refuses to take phone calls unless someone's cutting him a check. His mornings, just as stripped down. No green juice, no mantras. It's decaf coffee and an oatmeal cookie, usually from one of his Shark Tank-backed brands. Drop the kids off, hit Lifetime Fitness, and by 9 a.m., he's already deep into calls. He's called business his morning meditation. And don't ask him about work-life balance. He doesn't buy into it. He's all about goals over hours. If you're counting the minutes, you're losing the game. At home, though, things slow down. Cuban is married to Tiffany Stewart, a former ad executive he met at the gym. They've been together since the early 2000s and have 3 kids. But here's the twist. His parenting style is surprisingly low-key. He keeps their lives private and their mindset grounded. No fancy inheritance talk. No billionaire playbook for trust fund kids. Cuban makes them earn things. His parenting rule? After your health, my job is to make sure you're not entitled little jerks. Still, the family doesn't live small. They take international trips, fly private, and stay in the kind of resorts where the concierge knows your name before you land. But behind the scenes, he's raising kids to know what hard work looks like, even if they don't have to do it for survival. Not only that, but Cuban treats his health the same way he treats business, with precision, discipline, and measurable outcomes. He wakes up around 5:30 a.m. and heads straight into his morning workout, typically an hour of cardio, including basketball, gym machines, or kickboxing. For Cuban, staying fit isn't about image. It's about staying sharp, managing stress, and aging with control. He takes his biology seriously, getting full blood panels done every 3 to 6 months to monitor everything from nutrient levels to hormone shifts and allergies. His diet? Simple. He drinks decaf coffee and snacks on Alyssa's cookies, a low-sugar brand he backed on Shark Tank. He doesn't have a personal chef, a butler, or a team managing his life. He'll book an economy seat if it makes sense. What matters to him isn't optics, it's outcomes. Discipline beats indulgence. And for Cuban, that discipline starts with the body. Of course, being outspoken and at the top doesn't come without heat. Cuban's faced his share of headlines. But if there's one constant in all of it, it's that he rarely hides and never backs down. In 2024, Cuban clashed with Elon Musk over DEI programs after Musk called them a new form of racism. Cuban fired back on X, defending diversity as a business advantage and mocking Musk's echo chamber, turning their billionaire feud into headline fuel. Politically, he's hard to pin down. He praised Trump's drug pricing plan while campaigning for Kamala Harris, drawing heat from both sides. Though rumored for a political run, he joked his family would disown him. Cuban stays loud on social media, blasting big tech, virtue signaling, and what he calls bad business advice. Mark Cuban lives in 2 worlds. One where he's the barefoot billionaire, hopping into economy flights and skipping the suits, and another where he owns a $40 million jet, a stake in dozens of startups, and a portfolio that can buy islands. He says he's anti-elite, but eats dinner with them. Says he's just a regular guy, but rewired the game for regular guys like no one else. Whether that makes him a contradiction or a blueprint depends on who you ask. But one thing's for sure, Mark Cuban didn't just cash out. He cashed in on his own terms.